Lord said to me that the relationship between Russia, China, and US will not last. It is a trap. The relationship between Russia, China, and US is a trap for US. It's a very, very serious trap for United States of America. It's like a bait. It's like a bait. When you want to destroy something, you give it something and then you stretch its neck to collect it and then you bring it in. It's like a bait. And the Lord said to me that that relationship will make US to go to bed and think that everything is okay, and then all of a sudden there will be a strike. All of a sudden there will be a strike. So Russia want to use this particular period to size United States of America, and then they will tie their knots, because in their attack of the United States of America, China and Russia will be friends. And they are going to get the loophole for the attack through France. So the Lord said to me that you are going to suddenly begin to see the emergence of France. The emergence of France. France will begin to rise all of a sudden. And before you know it, they will begin to become another superpower in the global world. And it says France is going to use Russia and China as a foundation to become superpower. So what God is saying in essence is that France is going to find a loophole from the relationship between Russia, China, and US. They will find a loophole to attack United States of America's economy. And then all of a sudden it begins to look as if that France is becoming a superpower. And then based on that, they will find out a bait that France can be leaned on to attack United States of America. So the loophole for Russia and China, they will get it from France. And the Lord said, just watch out what is going to happen. This is troubling for the Nigerian government. The Lord said desperation by the government of Nigeria. Questions we are not asking. Desperation by the government of Nigeria. Questions we are not asking. The Lord is saying that Nigerians are not asking the right questions. All of a sudden it seems everybody has gone quiet. All of a sudden it looks as if everything is working. The Lord said it is shadow boxing. The underneath of the nation is decaying in a rapid intent and lean. And at the surface, it looks as if everything is okay and nobody is saying anything. He said it is the time for the church in the nation of Nigeria to rise up and begin to cry for the carcasses that is below the superficial what we are seeing, to begin to cry and wail for the rebirth of a new nation. The Lord said he will hear our cry. And all of a sudden, you are going to see, mark what I'm saying today, you will see the Senate House divided. You will see, quotas and quotas and quotas. It's like they formed groups inside the Senate. And the Lord said he would divide it so that their target will not stand. The Lord said there is going to be portions and portions and portions in the Senate House. Watch it out. He's going to strike the Senate, and there are going to be portions. And then all of a sudden, you begin to see the emergence of sudden death without explanation. You are going to see sudden death of notable politicians without explanation. Desperation by the government of Nigeria. Questions Nigerians are not asking. So where are we heading to? Where does God want us to go? I believe in the course of the month of March, I will come back to expatiate on this, because I'm going to touch three arms of the government: the executive, the judiciary, and the legislative. That is something that is going on. That is something that is going on. That is something that is going on. But the Lord has not given me permission yet to speak. But across the month of March, I'll be coming back to give us what is going on. And you need to understand that there is something that the Fulanis are cooking up. Now, I need to remind you that out of the 13 northern governors, 9 out of 13 are Fulanis. 9 out of the 13 governors from the northern states are Fulanis. And there is an agenda, serious agenda that is going on beneath the belt. And if they succeed, one agenda that is remaining is to Islamize this nation. And so I'll be revealing more on that area as God will be giving utterance. Pope Francis, dead or alive, what is the significance? Pope Francis, dead or alive, what is the significance? Pope Francis, dead or alive, what is the significance? I will have to come back to do a teaching on this, but let me highlight on this for you to know what God is saying. There is going to be an infiltration of women in the Vatican City. That is going to be a serious infiltration of women. Women are suddenly going to be strong powers in the Vatican City, and that is a marker in an end time. It's going to be a serious mark. We are expecting an announcement. According to what the Lord showed me, is the expectation of a serious announcement. I see the clothes, the white apparel of the Pope on the ground, and someone is picking it up and is wearing it. I just saw it being picked from the ground. The clothes of the Pope, just somebody picking it from the ground and wearing it. And you are going to discover that there is a lot that has been covered. You will discover that in that community that there is a lot that has been covered, and a lot will be revealed when the next person will pick up that cloth. But I want you to remember that if the announcement comes, there is an announcement that will come. When that announcement eventually comes and another person is putting on that cloth, a lot will be revealed. This appeared to me as a question. What is Elon Musk and Donald Trump doing? What is the Lord brought back the story of the COVID-19 to me when this question came up in the spirit. Brought back the COVID-19 issue, where we saw that before the COVID-19, we saw certain people, when they came up and they began to say that the world is overpopulated, Africa is densely populated, and there is a need to reduce the dense population of a nation and the continent of Africa. And in the midst of the population, in the midst of reducing the general population, there was a target. And it was in the midst of that target that the issue of COVID-19 started. And Pfizer was one of the companies that was used to try to control the vaccines. And we had a situation where a question was asked to, I think, the CEO or so of that company. And the question was, why are you not being vaccinated? And he actually said he is not a frontliner. He said he's not a frontliner. He does not need to take the vaccines yet. That the vaccine is for the frontliner. Now, we were made to understand that without the vaccine, it's not going to be easy for you to have your daily life. You know, a lot of things were shut down. The issue of mask came up. The issue of distancing and social distancing, isolation, and all that came up. And we are meant to believe that there was no cure for it. Now, a targeted population in Africa were the people that we are considered the people who needed the vaccines most. And there was a shipment of those vaccines. Now, the question is, where did the vaccines went to? Number two question is, how come it is not everybody that got the vaccination, yet people are still alive? The COVID-19 that killed people, numerous number of millions of people, that even prime ministers of civilized nations came online and said to themselves, we have tried all we can, we leave the rest to God. How did this suddenly disappear? The Lord said to me, it's like a screw is opening up again. Now the Lord said, the question I want to ask you, which he has given me the answer, that's why I said, on some of these things I will have to come back and expatiate on them. How come all these things disappear? The issue of COVID-19 is no longer mentioned. We're no longer bothered about mask and thereabout. What happened to the virus? Is it that the human system suddenly built a defense against it? Is it that it was intentionally sent and then the effectiveness of it through mutation was reduced? What actually happened to the COVID-19 virus? Does it mean it does no longer kill? If it does no longer kill, then what was in it before that was killing? Now, if people could recover from it without the vaccine, the question is, how come people did not recover from it before, from the vaccine? What happened to that virus? Was it reduced? Was it intentional to reduce the effect? Was it a tried agenda? Was it a strategy? What actually was COVID-19 all about? So I will come back to give us an extra information about that. Then I'll begin to point you towards a direction. Because all this that is happening is towards a direction. The Ukraine war is not going to end. It's going to be the standard for France. France is going to take the utmost advantage of the Ukraine war. And what is going to happen is that there is going to be a leaning. NATO, in order to avoid the United States of America, will lean towards another superpower. And that is why I said France will be rising, the emergence of France. And when they are leaning away, it creates a vacuum. Then all of a sudden, Russia will want to say, this is what we'll want to do. United States of America will say no. And that will issue the Third World War. So, but a marker must happen. There must be a removing of a certain cloth and a wearing of another certain cloth. Until that, I will be back. The Lord showed me the continent of Africa, and it was a black soil. And he said to me, the most populated black nation, and in the world, the nation where most black people live is Nigeria. Now, the question is, what does 2027 hold for Nigeria? I'm going to come back to explain what this black soil means. Because it's not just the ordinary sand that's maybe, or the earth crust that you are seeing. No, there's a significance to it. And I will be explaining it with a concept that the Lord gave to me. At what point is Nigeria? You need to know that Nigeria is key to the revival. Nigeria is key to the returning of the baton back to Israel. So at what point is Nigeria and where are we heading to? So we're going to look at critically what is going on in the political scene. Now you need to know that IBB and his legacy and Tinubu's presence is a key factor. You see that particular gathering. You saw IBB, you saw Tinubu. That was a strategic marker. Now, the Lord showed me two of their pictures, and what he wrote is agreement. But that agreement will not hold until a major player from the southeast will rise. So from now to 2027, you are going to see the emergence of a key player in southeast. You will see that there's going to be all of a sudden a cabinet reshuffling, and then the southeast personnel is going to be given an agenda, and then to bring him into the equation of that agreement that I saw in that revelation, he'll be given a vital position for 2027. Then at that point, the game begins. So I will come back to tell you more about the IBB issue. And then I will explain to you the representatives that took place in that place. It is more spiritual than any other time. Now, if a man is coming to tell you that he annulled an election, but this is a pure winner, what is he accepting? Is he accepting that there was an error? Or is he accepting that the intention of that annulment has also been gotten by the presence of the present president? Did he do it then? For now, the question must be answered. Because if you are annulling something and then someone else is in power to witness the testimony of an annulled an election, then what is the reason for the annulment? That's why I said the establishment of two of them, an agreement has been entered. And whether you like it or not, the Lord showed me there are 3 horns in Nigeria. The first horn is IBB. The second horn is our current president. The third horn is Obasanjo. Anything that will happen through these 3 pipelines. So what is God going to do to these 3 people to create that particular space he wants before 2027? And so what is he going to do? Something will happen between 3 of them. Because you can't have 3 persons playing a match. It has to be 2. So from now to 2027, that will be a breaking news. But that legacy party of launching of the book is a statement to followers of the establishment of an agreement. So it was not just a book launching, it was a statement of agreement. So I will come back to also talk more on that. The Lord said to me 3 matches before the conclusion of the EPL, there will be an emergence of a champion. And the champion will only have issues in 2 matches. Of all the matches remaining, they will have 2 issues in 2 matches. And aside that, the conclusion of the matter will be that there will be grand champion. And I said before the start of this season, if Man City gets a 4th position, they should thank God. And when I said it, people said I was crazy. This season, Pep Guardiola will say it is his best season. Because that will be a very big shock to him. So by tomorrow, she'll be live to give you the updates on that. Also for what time? I remember I released a video. The Lord also told me that a new champion in boxing will be rising up. A new champion in boxing will be rising up. I know many of us want to hear something about Abia State. I'll tell you on Sunday. I'll tell you something about the state. Can you ask God to speak to you in 1 minute?